because I like to be honest with men. I don't like to, deceive anyone or lie or whatever. But my thing is if we were having a conversation and it wasn't about this and we were just vibing, or if I went to your church and stuff, like, you're not looking at me as like a boy or like Ray and Glam.
Well, if to be fair, since I knew you were coming here, I think it's not a fair question to ask because, but to be clear, there are tons of, especially today, you could literally look at somebody on the internet and never know that they lived as the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And that's or that they were born as the sex that they're not presenting, rather, is the better way to say it. But to me, I don't know, like for me, I think that it's just dishonesty. Do you know what I mean?
If you're not being honest.
If you're not being honest.
Like one time, and I ain't never told nobody this, but I put on a wig one time, right?
Yo.
So when I put on the wig, because I was trying to get into this other character, so I put on the wig, I looked in the mirror and I went, oh my God, and I was attracted to me.
Ray is a key.
And I went, what just happened?
He was in character.
I didn't know what happened, but I was
It's true though,
because I had it on and I went like that because it was in my eye. So I went like that and I took it off because I was attracted to me.
Yo.
And I love me, but I didn't know I loved me like that.
Nah, he gay, bro.
Like, I look good.
That was just a coming out
So I never did
story.
it again.
That's a come out. That's a coming
Yeah.
out story. That's a coming out story, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That's an experiment story. Yeah, that's a story right there. Simple.
I don't know why, but I felt like it's good to just be vulnerable here. But yeah, that's what happened to me.
This is a safe space.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to,
They feel
you would make a
vulnerable.
gorgeous woman.
No, I just liked me. I was like, damn. And then I went, oh, that's me.
I think one of the things that when conservatives are speaking with people on this issue and people think that it's so hardcore,
You gotta be
and
playing.
some of the, I guess, belligerence that I think people are sensing, and there is a belligerence there, and the belligerence is coming from the fact that what used to be a very small minority of people who were suffering from gender dysphoria has now been mainstreamed, and it's become a social contagion, and I feel particularly responsive to it because I did sit down with a person named Brianna. I don't know if you had time to watch this interview that I did. Brianna is still identifies as transgender. Right. He was very kind. He and I sat down, and he basically reached out to me because he, like you, decided to go through with the procedure. Things went very wrong. Yeah,
Oh,
Brianna Ivy.
It went wrong.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Brianna realized he was just a gay guy and basically fell into the trap of seeing people online, seeing these shows that were produced who made them think it was going to be this easy thing and you were going to be happier on the other side when the majority of the people actually aren't. We know for a fact that suicide rates increase after transitioning, which they don't share. And so it feels to me, and especially, and I can ask this to you, Ray J, because you're presenting a show here and you're going to contribute to this culture of people thinking, just like Brianna Ivy did, that this is just, this is a decision that's going to be super easy and this is just actually who you are, this is who you were born, and this is who you can be. And that to me is just such a demonstrable lie. And it's a lie that's hurting children. You know, children are wanting to be like Ray J and thinking that this is cool and I'm going to hang out with some trans people and it's going to be dope. And they're having their entire lives. Like, that was the only time I almost cried on my show, was when Brianna was just boohoo crying, sharing how deformed he is, how he wish he had heard voices like mine saying, like, you need to wait because you are going down a path and you're paying attention to culture, which is just trying to sell you the newest
Listen to your
cigarette.
heart, right?
Yeah.
And listen to the education that, like, hopefully now we can provide. We have the Gay Agency, we have Gaydar PR, I have Ray Pride, which is a C3, and I think we have the Girls Club, and I think it's just having these conversations where people who are straight and people who are gay, people who are trans, they can all just sit down and just talk it through, right? As you watch that, you start to understand and get educated on a lot of different things, and I think that's the most important, is being able to have these conversations with different people who have different opinions and different perspectives on life, coming together, and we're able to have this debate and these understandings. And even if the first 2 or 3 debates don't go right, the 5th one might, the sixth or 7th one might, as long as we give each other time, because everybody's here now. Everybody's strong. The communities are strong. The LGBTQ is extremely strong, and they're supportive, and they're down to support people who are willing to understand. Same with the straights. And I say the straights now because I've been, right? It's the straights, right? And, and that's just because I've been.
You not the straights? Wait, hold on. He not the straights? Why you saying like the gays, the straights, the gays? He not part of the straights? Like, what the heck?
And I feel good. I feel good that we're all able to talk. I feel good that we're able to sit and have this debate without it going way to the left or way to the right.
Right.
And I think we need more of this.
Yeah, and I wanted to double on his point as well, because Ray doesn't even understand sometimes, as he's the CEO of Tronics and Ray's just going to be Ray, but he doesn't understand the power and impact in a positive way he has on us, because we're able to be very hands-on with this network and show, and we're able to come around and have access to someone like Ray that's a producer that most people in cast just do it and get turfed, or it's like show's over, see you later. We've been able, after the show has wrapped, to be able to have intense, personal, private, whatever conversations with Ray and really talk about real things. Like,
my experiences, I could.
Yeah, like we talk about everything.
We have some loud things that I think we can continue to elaborate on.
Yeah. And I wanted
as we all grow together.
Yeah, and I wanted
No pun
to make
intended.
a point as well that we don't sit there and get told what we want to hear. Some of these conversations are hard to have. There might be disagreements. Sometimes people, not saying Ray, but might say something offensive. So it's not them just sitting in the room telling us trans girls what we want to hear.
And and I had a lot of things
it's growth.
I had things that had happened to me that shocked me and that y'all helped guide me through that we can elaborate on later because it's another. And I don't want to go too viral. But but it is always good to be able to talk and disagree, agree, and it's not intensely uncomfortable, but it's fun. And I think there's just a level of respect, and you having us on today just speaks volumes on
I think so
like
too.
you and what you represent and how you've given us the opportunity to talk and debate and get an understanding, because a lot of people listen to you. A lot of people are supportive of the trans community, the gay community, and together bridging the gap, at least just for mutual understanding and respect from all sides, is really strong.
Yeah,
and
I always think being respectful is super important, and I'm grateful that you guys respect that opinions haven't changed on the issue. And one of the biggest reasons I wanted to communicate to you from the conservative community and why we feel like we have to be so strong on
the conservative community, meaning the straight community, or just the conservative community?
Politically conservative. And the reason why this matters so much, especially deeply for those of us who have kids and see what's happening in the school system, is because at the moment that you say that there is no objective reality, everything becomes possible. And some people hear that and they're like, yay, Disney World, everything becomes possible. But the reality is that if you say there's no such thing as a male and there's no such thing as a female, and anybody can decide what they are when they want, they can say I'm a different race, I'm transracial, I'm transsexual, I'm transgendered, then eventually and very quickly we will wind up at people saying that, and there have been examples of this, people saying that they're actually a different age. So you have a 60-year-old man, but it's not funny because this is real. This is real. You have a 60-year-old man who is saying that he self-identifies as a 13-year-old, and these people go and they commit acts of pedophilia. This has happened, right?
And they have places where they go and be babies and they like
exactly.
the
So
bottle.
and this is real. So this
it's
is all going to
real
get
and it's
added
very far
onto
wide.
the LGBT. I don't view gay.
I don't want
I
them
don't
to
do-
touch our
wipe your butt
community.
But you
you
say you
ever-
I
don't
want
want
to
them.
make
You
that
say
statement that people like that, because I've heard that in different statements, and once again, is like crazy that as a trans person under the umbrella, I'm just lumped with these people.
But maybe that's their perception.
But that's
Their
the whole point.
Their perception of
And
life
I get that you don't identify as that, but it is ideologically speaking the same thing if we don't say that there is an objective reality. It would actually be better if a trans person said, I accept this is actually a mental disorder. I don't want to say to people, because by the way, people have other mental disorders, bipolar. I got people have this.
That's why we say
schizophrenia.
Is there another
Let me.
Is there another word?
Right,
for
that's
it
what's
besides
wrong
mental
with this
disorder?
But because it is I don't think this is triggering. I don't know why suddenly people are so triggered by this. It's your mental, and something is out of
But
order.
it's because it's not real, Ken.
But some people don't like to eat food because they want to be.
Just give me 1 second. Let me just get through this,
Candace, go
okay?
ahead. Sorry.
It is, right? So there can be people, that's right, who have body dysmorphia. That is a mental disorder. You have people who are anorexic. I used to have anorexia. I had a mental disorder, okay? I was tiny, and I was doing it as a control mechanism. I was very happy. In fact, the only way to actually get better was to accept that this is a mental disorder, okay? I don't have an issue with that term. I don't think it's a problem because at varying points in people's lives, your mental can get out of order. The issue when you don't acknowledge that it is a mental disorder and you instead just insist that like this is a normal thing and people are born this way means it becomes impossible to attack that person. Ideologically speaking, if you start making laws and saying this is real, then that guy who says I'm 63 years old and I believe it, I am 12 on the inside, I never grew up, this is who I am, Peter Pan, send me to Neverland, and he molests another girl and he goes into court and he says, no, I'm 13. Objective reality is what I feel, right? It's how I feel on the inside. And I actually, Your Honor, feel that I'm actually 16.
That's against the law.
Now, here's the
Okay,
question.
but
Here's the question.
But this is why we have to be a guard, and this is I'm speaking now on behalf of conservatives. We have to be a guard, and we have to say objective reality exists. Okay, objectively speaking, bipolar, it's a disorder. Anorexia, it's a mental disorder. Transgenderism, dysmorphia is a mental disorder. These are all mental disorders, right? And
No,
there are
is a mental disorder. Being trans is not a mental disorder. So we have to stick to the facts.
How is that facts,
and
bro?
if they're
Oh
fat
my
and
God.
actually they're skinny, you say you have a mental disorder.
I got a
right?
good question.
But you're saying that you are a male, you believe you're a woman, and that's not a mental disorder.
I'm just being specific. Trans and anorexia, mental disorder and not mental disorder. The APA, you only have to ask the APA. These are trained psychiatrists. And I understand that conservatives will want to say that's to fill an objective, but at the just objective, it is what it is.
Well, they just updated
we're not
that
a mental
manual
disorder.
in the last couple of years.
Yes,
It
exactly,
was
because it was
literally a mental disorder.
but it was misinformation, and conservatives in the past.
And someday they'll update that same manual and they will say that minor attracted people, which is a term that they're tossing around
hope
now
not.
because they're saying it's offensive to call them pedophiles, and we should instead call them minor attracted people. Someday they're going to push to update the manual then, which is why I insist on being a guard against that.
And
there
that's
is
illegal
objective
behavior,
reality.
and I don't want that attached to anything to, what LGBT.
How do you feel about that? Talking about people saying I identify as a 12-year-old. A wireless hack that can cut.
Candace be getting them, bruh. Wow.
Damn, my hand was up for so long, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, I wanna say, damn, I had something good I wanted to say. I feel like I wanna know this. This is a good question. How many people in the world are suffering from some kind of mental disorder? Is it majority of the world? Is it 89%, 93%, 43%, 2%, right? That's how we'll understand where we all are mentally, right? Because sometimes you'll have it this phase and you'll get out of it this phase, right? Like you said, you had a phase you went through and now you're out of it, right? How many people in the world are statistically suffering from a mental? Because I think that's how we'll respect the word mental disorder as opposed to your perspective in life.
It just means that your mental is out of whack.
So how many
This is
people in this
crazy.
world are going through that?
Right,
I mean, we
crazy,
probably won't be
bro.
able to figure it out now. That's
Yeah.
a very good question.
Crazy. You weird, bro.
Because that will give us a good scope on people's perception of what a mental disorder is.
I genuinely don't say that to be triggering. Like I said,
No, I'm fine with it. It just sometimes it triggers. I'm fine. I've been
It is
I've been
weaponized,
mentally
but I'm good.
disordered from the beginning,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Yeah.
I think it triggers
now.
I think it triggers you because you've gotten it your whole life, and
It's not a trigger, but my point is that I have to represent not only myself but the community to put out the information out there that's factual. And I know you're a boss with that. You're all about the facts.
Yeah.
The facts are that it's not a disorder, and
we got to do a poll.
But I
Like,
understand
how
that
many
some
people are
people's
going
It's
through
a
opinions.
it?
I
fact.
get
But
it.
I just think that
bro.
when people see this, and obviously the internet will internet, but when they hear you call Rachel Dolezal, like that's crazy. When they hear you say like, oh, the idea of identifying as different age is crazy, but then you being like, but this
No, I
identifying
don't want to.
sex
I
is
want
a
to. I
real
want to be
thing.
very
I
specific.
think people are going to
with
say,
my-
okay,
No, but I'm
maybe
very
that's a little bit
specific
of
with my words.
I want you
I'm
to
specific with my
give us.
words.
I want you to
didn't
give
call
us
it
time to go back and analyze the question in its entirety.
No, but
Because
for me,
as I've done my
it's a
study,
statement.
I've studied a lot of things that I've seen. Right, that question is a very, very last question of all that kind of like puts the wall up on.
It's not a wall. It's just telling you that this doesn't make sense. That's it, right? And that's so you feel like it's a wall,
Right.
and you're like, oh wait, suddenly I realize this doesn't make sense, and it's a slippery
Not
slope.
that.
And now we
It's
go
just-
back to
It's just
pedophilia.
a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question for a reason because it instantly
right.
makes you realize,
Get
hey,
him, Candace.
there is such thing as an objective truth, and if you cannot be ideologically consistent, then your idea makes no sense.
But
That's
it's still-
it.
it's
You
still
have to be able
layered.
to apply
It's-
it here,
it's a
and
layer
I'm applying it
to
here.
race,
Rachel Dolezal is not
gender,
black. A
black,
person who just
white.
thinks that they're a race does not make them
But you're
so.
asking-
A person who
but-
thinks that they're a gender does not make them so. Both
But
can play
can I-
dress up.
but
Very
can I
tricky
make a point?
question.
You brought up
It's a cheat code
Rachel.
question.
Yeah.
And I think we need to go back and like analyze
Well,
the question
no,
a
but
lot
you-
more.
but you
And
brought up
let us dissect the
What?
question. It's a
The
very,
comment section will.
it's a very powerful question.
No, but I think that that's interesting that that's brought up that they're going to jump on that. But I know what I said on camera, so that's fine. They can say what they say. But
like
it's
the
just
atomic question.
But you see Rachel for that, but I never called her crazy.
No,
and
I'm
I
saying
also
that when
was
you hear these
respectful that if she
ideas,
wants to live
right,
that, that's her choice.
And by the way, we all feel
That's
that way,
her
but they will
opinion.
hear you say that she is not black, and then hear you say, but I am a woman.
What happened
No,
to her?
but
What-
hold
what-
on,
what-
because
did-
I said I'm not a biological woman.
That's
Remember,
fine.
that's
That's
why
fine. And she's not a biological black person, but neither of you are. You're both.
See, I
got a lot
but
of
I'm
white friends that's
identifying
black.
as,
Right.
but I'm identifying as a trans woman.
I got a
So
lot of
see
white
what I'm
friends
saying?
that's
I'm
black.
owning
Oh
what I
my
am.
God.
So that theory doesn't work. If I was sitting here
When I asked her, do you
saying
believe
that I was a
So
biological
delusional,
woman,
bro.
I feel like I would fit in her category, and that's the truth.
I don't think she said she was a biological black person.
No,
She just
that's
was
what
living.
the whole
from the
statement was
hood.
that she was telling
From-
everyone.
from the
black.
city
She
that
was
she's
telling
in. Yeah, I
everyone.
mean,
She
it
lied,
could be in
right?
a conservative black neighborhood,
Yeah.
or it could be in like
She lived
a
a
cultural
false
neighborhood like
life
we grew up
based
in.
on what you said.
She
It
has
was
been
like a
embedded
bubble.
in the community, and she has been crowned, and she has been blessed.
So if
and-
she just came out and said I'm transracial and then lived as a black person, then you would say we're the same.
No, because for me,
Right.
I own that I'm not a biological woman and that I'm a trans woman. So that's why I feel like so many people take harm from it, respectfully, because there hasn't been chats like this before where people like me have spoken out and said that. And that's going to gag people
yeah,
because
but
people
still.
are like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought you go around saying you're biological. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. Everything is so specific. And when you start lumping it into terms and into categories, it doesn't work like that. That's not life. We have to be specific with different people in different scenarios. Me next to the next trans girl, we might not meet eye to eye at all. And you might be like, I can understand you, but I don't understand what they're saying because it's just out of field.
This is a great debate
Yeah.
because we're actually talking it through.
And I
And I think there's so much more of it that needs to happen. Like this is a continuous
God.
thing that
This
needs to
dude
happen.
is
We would love to
crazy.
do a monthly weekly.
Well, tell us, Ray J, just so we can wrap this up. And by the way, I do
Oh
think
my
this has been a
God.
very constructive conversation, and I feel at the very least respected in the fact that you recognize that you and I are not the same, and I will tell you of
But we
all,
are the same. We're all humans.
Yeah, we're all
Well, you know what I
humans
meant
in
by that.
God's gift.
I think
get
that that's
you.
a huge issue that a
Yeah.
lot of women have, where it's
Yeah.
like I can just tomorrow decide to be
Yeah,
you, and
without
I'm like
respect.
I have
Yeah.
I'm a woman,
And I respect you.
Yeah,
and
and
honestly, I'm so glad I came because I
Exactly.
feel like when the cameras are off and when you're just vibing and having having a chat, I know, just even by the look in your eyes, I know like you can kind of get it and I get it. But the thing is, we can also agree to disagree, and there's things that we're just not going to meet eye and eye.
Right.
But this is why when you have a debate and when you have a conversation, you have to be specific. And
You might not meet eye to eye today, but tomorrow's
Yeah.
a new day.
Yeah, maybe you could mentor me in a few
And
things.
next week's
Maybe
a new
I
day.
could teach you a few.
I think you're very kind, Danielle. Seriously, like, and brave to come on here and have this conversation where most just talk trash on the internet
like-
and haven't thought about. No, don't be
I
nice.
was like, oh my God,
I would be
I
like,
said
I'm
a
super
prayer
nice.
last night or a
That's
few.
very, that's
Yeah.
very sweet.
Yeah, I was like,
Ray,
God,
tell us
take
about
the
the
wheel.
show. In closing, tell us about the show that Danielle is going to be on.
Yes,
and
well,
Shoot, that was a lot. Simple. I'm glad I put the little speed thing because that would have been long. But bro, saying like, bro, you are a male. A male can't be a female, and that you think that you a female, you have a mental disorder. The Autobot is saying, I don't have a mental disorder. I'm trans. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you trans because you dressing like a female? That makes you trans? Dressing like a female, acting like a... What makes you trans? You feel me? And then, whatever makes you trans, at the end of the day, in reality, you're a male. You can't say, I'm trans, I'm not a male no more, and still be a male. You're still a male. You know what I'm saying? For you to believe that, that's a mental disorder, man. That's my opinion. It's your boy Cole, man. It was a lot, man. Y'all comment down y'all opinion below. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.